Hello students, let us learn the 7th chapter of your social studies textbook today. Our history. What is history? History is the study about the past. Just as how your family has a past starting from your forefathers, our country India too has a history. For easiness of understanding, the history of our country is divided into three periods: the ancient period, the medieval period, and the modern period. Now let us go back to the past and learn about India's history. Let us start with the ancient period. This period begins with prehistory and continues till about 700 CE. What is prehistory? Prehistory is the period of time before written records were available. There was a time when people were unable to read, write, and keep records of their activities. We know about that time from the things that they used. Those things are buried under the soil. They are dug out and studied by people. Those people are archaeologists. So, an archaeologist is a person who studies human history and prehistory through the excavations of sites and the analysis of objects and other physical remains. It is said that ancient period lasted up to 700 CE. What is this CE? Let us see. CE stands for Common Era or Current Era. Earlier it was AD. These days CE is used instead of AD. AD stands for Anno Domini. It is a 16th century Latin word. It means in the year of our Lord. Lord, it is Jesus Christ. This term is used to represent the year after the birth of Jesus Christ. Remember, sometimes AD is also spelled as after death, which is totally wrong. Do not use after death as the expanded form of AD. It is Anno Domini. And what about BCE? BCE stands for before the Common Era or before the Current Era, before the birth of Jesus Christ. And one thing more, when we use AD, it is used before the year. Look at this example, AD 600. But when we use CE, it is used after the year, like 1600 BC. Now let us study about some of the civilizations and dynasties of this period. What is civilization? Civilization is the social and cultural development of humans. And what is dynasty? Dynasty is a family whose members rule a country for a long time. Let us start with the Indus Valley Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization developed on the banks of the river Indus around 4,500 years ago. This civilization is also known as the Harappan Civilization because the first city to be discovered by the archaeologists was Harappa. Mohenjo-daro was another important city of the Indus Valley Civilization. These cities had well-planned buildings, drains, wells and roads. Bricks, pottery, seals and tools that were used by the people of that time have been found by archaeologists from various sites of this Indus Valley civilization. And we learn about these places from the remains of these cities discovered by archaeologists. Trade was a common occupation of the Harappan people. The traders traded goods such as terracotta pots, beads and stones. The Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro and the granary at Harappa were some of the magnificent or wonderful structures of this civilization. Now let us learn about the Vedic Age. The Vedic Age began about 1500 BCE with the coming of the Indo-Aryans. The Indo-Aryans were a nomadic tribe or a wandering tribe who came to India from Central Asia. The period during which the Indo-Aryans they settled in Indian continent, that is known as the Vedic Age, because all the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and other Veda, these were written during this time. What are Vedas? The Vedas are religious scriptures or sacred books of religions. The great two epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, were also written during this period, during the Vedic period. Both the Vedas and the great epics tell us a great deal about the culture and lives of the people during the Vedic Age. Now let us find out the details of some dynasties of the Vedic Age. Let us start with the Mauryas. The legendary or very well known King Chandragupta Maurya established the Mauryan dynasty in about 321 BCE with the help of his advisor Kaudilya. Kaudilya was also known as Chanakya. The kingdom of Chandragupta Maurya was known as Magadha. After the death of Chandragupta Maurya, his son Bindusara took over the Mauryan throne, or Bindusara became the king after his father's death. Ashoka, Chandragupta's grandson, son of Bindusara, was the most famous ruler of this Mauryan dynasty. One of the most important events of Ashoka's life was the war with Kalinga. Ashoka was very disturbed by the bloodshed or the violence and the death of soldiers during the Kalinga war. He found the suffering of the people after the war. That's why he turned towards Buddhism. He became a Buddhist and helped in spreading Buddhism and its message of peace across the Indian subcontinent. There are many pillars that Ashoka erected across his empire, on which he inscribed instructions for the people to live in peace and harmony with one another. Another important dynasty of the Vedic age was the Guptas. After the Mauryas, the Gupta dynasty gained control over Magadha, and they ruled this Indian subcontinent in the 4th and 5th century CE. Chandragupta first. Remember, it's not Chandragupta Maurya, it is Chandragupta first. He established the Gupta Empire by expanding his territories across India. After Chandragupta, his son Samudragupta came to power. There was a great development in the field of literature, science, arts, astronomy, engineering and mathematics during the period of Guptas. The decimal system and the concept of zero were invented during the period of Guptas. Kalidasa and Aryabhatta were two famous scholars of this period. Based on these great advancements, the Gupta period is also called the Golden Age of ancient history. That's all about the ancient period. Now let us learn about the medieval period. The period roughly between 700 CE and 1750 CE is known as the medieval period in India. Let us learn about some of the dynasties of this period. Let's start with the Delhi Sultanate. Around the 11th century CE, Mahmud Ghazni in Central Asia invaded or attacked India. Another invader was Muhammad Ghori. All these rulers or the kings or invaders, they attacked India for the wealth of India. In 1606 CE, Qutbuddin Aibak established the rule of the Delhi Sultanate in the northern India. Rulers such as Iltutmish, Balban and Razia Sultan succeeded Qutbuddin Aibak to the throne. Now let us find out about the Mughal dynasty. With the decline or weakening of the Delhi Sultanate, many small kingdoms arose in northern part of India. In 1526 CE, Babur came to India from the present-day Uzbekistan and established the Mughal Empire in India. Babur was succeeded by his son Humayun. In 1556 CE, Humayun's son Akbar took over the throne and he became the emperor of Mughal Empire in India. Akbar was the greatest ruler of the Mughal dynasty. Jahangir and Shah Jahan succeeded Akbar to the Mughal throne. The Taj Mahal at Agra was built by Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. Aurangzeb, Shah Jahan's son, was the last important or powerful ruler of Mughal dynasty. After the decline of the Mughal dynasty in the 18th century, the Rajputs, the Sikhs and the Marathas came into power and formed small regional kingdoms in northern part of our country. That's all about the medieval period. Now let us learn about the modern period. The modern period in India began in 1750 CE. Many traders from Europe had started coming to India during the Mughal period. As the Mughal Empire declined or became weak, these European traders, the French, the Portuguese, the British, Danish and Dutch, fought amongst themselves and against the small Indian kingdoms to gain power. To get power, all these European trading companies, they fought against themselves. At the same time, they fought against Indian rulers as well. And finally, the British defeated all the other European traders. They soon started interfering in the matters of administration and politics of India, and the British Raj gradually began to spread all over India. The British defeated Indian kings and they began to control the Indian territories. And they got power of different regions in India, and that began to spread all over India. Almost all the parts of India was under the control of the British Empire. And in 1857, the people of India revolted against the British rule. That revolt or the protest of Indians is also known as the Revolt of 1857, otherwise the First War of Independence. But the revolt was not successful. The British crushed or suppressed the revolt. The Indian National Congress, a political party or a political organization which was formed in the year 1885, played a very important role in the freedom movement of India. One of the most important personalities in India's struggle for freedom was Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi did not believe in fighting against the enemy. He believed in non-violent methods like satyagraha to attain complete independence for India. Our country, India, finally got freedom from the British rule on 15th August 1947. That's all about the chapter. Now read chapter 7 of your social studies textbook and watch the video again. Then write all the difficult words that you find in the chapter. Write those words 5 times each and send it to my WhatsApp number before 2 p.m. today. Thank you for watching.